Hey, how's it going? So today I want to talk about consistency in your product photos because when you are consistent with your product photography and how you not only take your product photos, but how you present your product photos and edit and so on, this will not only save you time and energy, but it'll also make your business look awesome. It'll look much more professional, look much more elevated, give like a good feel for your customers, create a better shopping experience for them, and so on. So I want to share with you a couple tips on how you can be more consistent when it comes to photographing your products. So first off, get a tripod. If you are not using a tripod to take your product photos, you are missing out. So the great thing about using a tripod is that you don't have to move your camera. Whether you're using a camera or whether you're using your phone to take pictures, it leaves your hands free to change out your products, to move things around, to frame things, and not have to touch settings, not have to worry about, getting blurry, unfocused photos and so on. So I highly encourage you to get a tripod. If you are not already using one, they can be really inexpensive, or maybe you have a friend or somebody who has a tripod that they're not using, but they're the best. I feel like it's a must have if you are doing your own product photos. The other thing is I highly encourage you to be using the same background for your product photos. Now, this might seem kind of boring and just blah, but it will really make your product stand out. It'll make your shop look a lot more cohesive, put together, and it'll also make photographing your products a lot easier because you don't have to think about what background do I use? Do I use this? Do I use that? No, you just use the same background, you take it out, or you put your product wherever that background is and you take your pictures. Like, it's so much easier. It doesn't have to be hard. So pick a background that really makes your product look great and stand out, and stick with it. Another thing is lighting. So when you're using different light sources for your product photos, it doesn't look great. So whatever light source you're using, use that light source for all your photos. So if you're using, studio, like artificial lighting, obviously use the same lighting setup, the same light bulbs and so on, and do your product photos that way. Now, obviously, if you're using the sun, it's a little trickier because the sun will vary depending on the time of day, depending on the time of year, depending on the weather, and so on. So figure out what way your product looks best depending on the lighting situation and time of day, and stick with it best you can. This way it'll make your product photos look a lot better and a lot more consistent. The other thing is, if you are not planning out your shots for your product photos, this is so critical. Especially if you're spending a lot of time taking product photos and you just feel like you're aimlessly taking pictures hoping those photos will be good. Doing a shot list will help save you time because you'll know what shots you need to take of each product, but it'll also make your listing photos look a lot better, right? So if you're photographing one product and you're taking like 8 shots, well, then the next product that might be just a different color, you do the same thing. So you know what to expect. It'll keep you a lot more focused and just make your listings and shop look a lot better. The other thing is, when it comes to editing, if you do all of this other stuff, it will make editing a lot easier. So the thing with editing is, obviously it can take a lot of time if you have different product photos with different backgrounds and different lighting and all this stuff. But if you use the same lighting, the same background, and all of that, this will make editing a lot easier. And another step you can do is using presets. Now, when you edit a photo and you like the settings, you can save that preset and then apply it to all the other photos that you took, assuming that they're in the same, light situation, have the same background, and so on. So then you can edit your stuff very quickly. Now, depending on what software you're using, you may have to do a little search and see if there's an option for presets. But I know there's presets for Snapseed if you're using your phone to take pictures. Obviously, like Adobe Photoshop, and I'm sure there's like a lot of other programs that have this option. So whatever you're using, maybe if you don't know if they have it, do a little search and see if they have that option. So those are my tips. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Do you have any questions? Let me know. How is it harder for you to be consistent with your product photos? If so, what's going on? So that's all for today. I hope you are doing well, and I'll talk to you soon.